My name is Brenda Green, and I founded the company Perceptive Healings. I've been a wellness mentor since 2019. I've been doing my own groups for a period of time here, so for since 2023. Today, I'm inviting a very special group of people to consider being part of the Intuitive Masterminding intensive course during its founding year. So we're working collaboratively together to develop the content. Some of it I already have a structure because it requires a structure in order to be able to learn this process. It's going to be with a weekly live call, as long as you can attend at least one live one per month and then be able to listen to the other recordings. There will be class content, and there's pre-recorded videos. There'll be practices. The important part with this intensive with intuitive masterminding is being able to meditate on a daily basis, even on the days where you just only have a few minutes. But whenever you can do longer, definitely do longer, because you need that collaborative energy that's going to help build on the clarity of the information that comes through whenever we work together doing the intuitive masterminding. And what it is just we're tuning into our higher consciousness, the higher energy, the universal wisdom that's available to us. And we're just calling on that energy so that we can find very direct, clear information and solutions to anything that we're working on, whether it's personal, business, relationships, whether you're following and supporting a cause or you're developing a foundation. Even if you're, whatever period of time that you're doing that, if you're contributing to your community in some form, it's a way to really work much more precisely where it aligns with your personality, who you are, those kind of things. So it's giving you all the tools available to you, your gifts, your abilities, your wisdom, the education that you have, all those things that in the life experiences that pull everything together. That way, the information is very it's very precise. We'll run through removing things that are kind of limiting us in certain ways, and I'll teach you some of the different things that'll allow you to be more in that space of the intuitive body, so that you're not pulling from your own energy when you're doing this work. It's really important. There's boundaries and protections. You'll learn those as well. But it's some of the content will have to be developed as we go along, so keep that in mind. The time commitment, most likely, a very minimum, probably 6 hours a week, probably most likely closer to 10 or 12 hours a week, if you have that time that you can do that. I wouldn't recommend doing this process right now if you're in another course, because you won't be able to focus on it, and it takes a certain amount of focus of just being able to pay attention to this work. It's that important. So for those that are able to take part, you're more than welcome to set up your wellness goals conversation with me, even if it's not a full 45 minutes, just so that if you have questions, you can ask me. Um, I'm sending out the information today, the guide. There'll be the videos. I'm just going to share a little bit of the guide. With intuitive masterminding, you'll experience more deeply aligned connections that emerge from resonance, from your trust, and the shared purpose. So when you're accessing and applying your inner wisdom in a much more specialized area, we're basically bridging the gap for you to be able to fully serve in a way that you want to serve, the way you want to impact, whether it's your family, your relationships, or you're extending it out, or it's on a bigger project, a grander scale. So don't worry if you're not have a grandiose idea of something huge. It doesn't have to be. It can be, I mean, literally family it can be within that range of or community, church, any of those things that wherever your faith is, you can align it to that as well. But we're just kind of bridging that gap, and we're filling in with a structure and a tools that you'll be able to use and understand and apply. Where initially I'm guiding you during the first month during one-on-one sessions, not just all on the live call, but individually, because it's more private, and you'll have a recording that's there long enough for you to download it or to listen to it again before it's not uploaded anywhere, because I don't want to store something personal. But you'll be able to go through this guide and read through some of the information a little to get a better understanding of what the process is and how it can benefit you and how much it'll make a difference in your day-to-day life. It will feel much more aligned to your true self and to your dharmic purpose. If your dharmic purpose isn't clear, don't worry about that. Same thing when we do this kind of work, that becomes more and more clear for those that are not sure. Just like I found in my own practices, that it shifted for me even while I was doing the work and doing the other clubs with the self-care habits and the chakra work and more intuitive work, developing that. Out of that came the intuitive masterminding. So letting it kind of unfold in that way too, when you're working towards your purpose, when you're connecting with that wisdom, it'll become more clear the way you're going to be delivering it, or allowing people to be able to experience what you're offering. Basically, you've built a life many would call successful. The degrees, the career, the business. On the outside, it all looks ideal, yet at night you feel a subtle ache or a whisper from within that won't be silenced. Life seems to be passing you by in a blur of responsibilities and achievements, leaving you with an undercurrent of overwhelm, fatigue, and a quiet longing for something more. Despite all you've accomplished, there's a sense that you're not fully living the life you were meant to live. That's what we're changing. So it's allowing you to kind of, and you can read through that further, but it's allowing you to step through that door and to be much more, it's allowing you to step through that door and be much more in tune with everything, and being able to use it in day-to-day life without, it's not going to come across like a woo-woo kind of thing where you felt like before you can't present that in a way. This allows you that opportunity to kind of integrate that with doing that in this, in the day-to-day life. The intuitive masterminding bridges the gap between spiritual insight and strategic actions. So you'll walk away with different action steps, and you'll have different practices, and we'll have very specific guided meditation practices to work with also. There will be a lot of individualized experiences for each person, because the abilities and the skills and the empath levels are varying from person to person, but there's still a core structure that applies across the board for very specific parts of it. So don't feel like this is a one size fits all. This is definitely a very personalized experience. And you'll find when you're applying it to something very meaningful, like a cause, like something for the community or something for a very specific group, this is going to really amplify to the level that it goes far beyond what you may do just based on education and life experience. It takes you much further. It makes it more, you can make it more impactful for the people that you're working with as well. And in addition to the one-on-one where we start off, there's 4 core competencies for this. And the first one is focusing on the foundation of what you need, and us working together so you get the feel for it. And then we'll see if in this second month that you can start to, well, and then we'll see the second month, I want to be able to shift it towards you using it for yourself. So you'll learn how to independently use the skill. And then we'll work towards working with other people because you'll find at different points in your life, you'll come across people that are empathic and open to this kind of thing, and you'll be able to work together in this way. Plus, if you're running your own business, you're more likely to choose people that are open to that so that you can work with them from the very beginning and be very collaborative effort. That's going to be very high level. It's going to be really in tune with your ultimate goals that you want to reach. It is definitely an untapped superpower. So we're just going to be working with developing the intuitive abilities much stronger and really tuning into what your gifts actually are so that you can fine tune those yourself as well. And some of you already know what they are. It's when you get into this deeper and deeper, there's a level of what you already know, and there's a level of what you're tapping into, and the guides or different things that come through, the different energies that come through that are further assisting you in your process. So but it is a intuitive decision making framework. So that's the core concept of just having that intuitive decision making framework to be able to, whether you're working with me, working on this for yourself, working with another person or with another group, you'll see how you could apply it across the board. You can see how you'll apply it in your own life. But you'll receive this guide so you can go a little deeper into reading the information that's in there. There is and the core competencies, this is tentative, it's not set, and then they may have different names by the time we go through. Definitely a foundation that you need to start off with, then the self-directed, then facilitating with other people, and then we're going deeper into the integration and expansion, and you're stepping more into that empowerment and that very clear boundaries that you have to with people and to protect yourself, and how to do that when you're going into this process and coming out. It's very much an awake meditative process, and you can do a lot of work in that state. You can use it to write books, write information that you want to facilitate for yourself and for the public at some point, if the book goes public. But that's a little bit what I wanted to share. And this is the offer right now is free for those that are coming into it. There's 1 to 2 of the one-on-one intuitive masterminding sessions a month, and then you could purchase it, additional ones if you feel like you need them. And the reason why I say 1 to 2 is because sometimes instead of just an hour session, it can go longer depending on what we're working on. So then it becomes kind of a second one in the one session. And I want to leave it open for your time so that if you can at least do 1 a month, that way you're still getting the full benefits of it. If you have time to do a second one, absolutely do it. But I would love to have you in with me doing this process and this work and this development, because I feel like it's going to impact a lot of people on a much grander scale, on a national scale. And I want to be able to really meet your needs by doing this type of intuitive work. So that's why I need your feedback if we work together, if you decide that you want to do this, and you can. In the future, it's just the price, the 4 months, it's $2,800 US. I'll have different payment options too, so don't worry about that if you don't want to come up with like that amount all at once. There's definitely some options there, and time, not just the 4 months, but there'll be additional time for those that need that. And you're more than welcome to repeat it. If you repeat it again, the price doesn't change. It'll be that full price because it's an intensive course. That way, if you decide you want to work on one particular theme or subject more solidly the first time and get familiar with it, and then the second time you want to actually go through it again to better integrate it and to work on something else very specific, it would give you that opportunity. Once you have the class content and the experience, the live calls and those things, you may choose to go through it yourself, covering different subjects. So whether you feel like you need a little more guided practice with it and more guidance and more information, you definitely can do it again. It's just optional. Thank you very much for considering being a part of this development of this intensive course for Intuitive Masterminding. And this is a trademarked, this is trademarked by me. This is not a practitioner training at this point. There most likely will be at some point, but because it's trademarked, I can't, until I have everything in place where I can give that practitioner training, then you could actually do that and teach it to other people. So you're in your own way. You're just taking the core concepts and applying it, but doing it in your own way. So that's a possibility down a little bit further down the road here. But it will still give you an opportunity to facilitate it with other people to the level that you're working on your own projects. But thank you for considering, being a part of this. And if not, it's there's other options there if you want to still work with me in other areas. I have I have different on-demand classes. I have the detoxes seasonally, and I do Perceptive Wellness Club, which is a little bit more beyond the 10 yogi habits, the Body Thrive habits. There, it goes much deeper into the chakra work, the Ayurveda, and different areas like that. So for those that need that type of foundation, it's good to go through that. Sometimes you have to go through some of these other trainings first to get to the level where you can be more open and expansive to this deeper intuitive work. But it will take a commitment and an engagement on your part to be in this with us. And it's something that I want you to really take full advantage of everything that's there for you, the tools that are there for you, the things that'll help you whenever you're triggered by something. I have a whole video just on the things that will help in that area as well, because sometimes we get triggered by things that we do, and we need some options of how that's going to help. In addition, never feel like you can't get, there's always professional help in areas when sometimes that's needed. And any of this work easily meshes with daily life, doctors, physicians, psychiatrists. Psychosomatic therapies. Any of those things that you feel pairs with this, doing, Dalian sessions with like Megan or someone that's doing that process, you'll be able to pair it with that. This pairs very well with if you're working with a business coach, so that you can definitely pair it together even at the same time when you're working with a business coach. But I think that's all. I would greatly enjoy your time in the group with us, and everyone is very much handpicked, and I'm aware of your abilities on some level already. That's why even if you haven't been through any of my courses, the ones that I'm familiar with you through the other communities that we've both been in, it's why I can choose you as part of this, even without that additional training. I feel like you're already there. Your abilities are already strong enough to do this work. So my confidence to expand into your confidence for sure, and your trust in me. I appreciate that. So let me know what you think.